Chon-mi continues to threaten Soo-hyun after her bullet grazes his arm after the first shot. The call is from none other than Chon-gu, aka Park Won-sok. She realizes that the call is from someone who holds her brother's phone and is the real suspect behind Won-sok's death, and tries to get a reply from the other side. However, the call comes to an end without a reply and angers Chon-mi. She then looks back at her actions and is sorry towards Soo-hyun, as she helps him dress up his wound in a photo booth and buys a new hoodie for his use. Soo-hyun then commemorates this day by taking pictures of the two, while telling her that he almost faced death on this day. She then explains to him how Oh-sung told her about the police suspecting him, which made her hide his bag before the police could reach them. She then tells him that she might have a lead as she plays the recording of a call she got from Won-sok's phone. He hears a ringtone in the background, which is their lead. On the other hand, Ah-young introduces her boyfriend to So-yeon while noticing that her friend might have some feelings for Soo-hyun. The two then head to a laundromat where they wait for his clothes to get a wash, but after Chon-mi falls asleep, he leaves with a note asking her to forget he ever came here. Elsewhere, Jae-bom tells Oh-sung that he may have been the one who killed Won-sok, but the latter tells him to not think along those lines. Jae-bom then tells him of the feeling of falling he felt when he regained this memory, when Oh-sung asks about how he got back his memories. He then tells Jae-bom that he has something of his related to Won-sok, which the latter gave days before his suicide attempt, after which he tells him to not think about Won-sok. The next day, Oh-sung brings a bunch of Polaroids of Jae-bom and Won-sok, which are later burned by Jae-bom. The next day, Soo-hyun reaches Seoul, but falls unconscious at the station and is sent to the hospital, which causes him to miss school. On the other hand, Jae-bom too skips school and continues to think about the happenings around him. Chon-mi notices this and wonders if Soo-hyun is alright. However, Jae-bom sees her entering Soo-hyun's house after school. He gets suspicious and lures her out while he enters the house to see what is happening. Oh-sung and Ji-hyun too arrive there and find out that Chon-mi lives at Soo-hyun's house, which angers Ji-hyun. Elsewhere, a detective questions So-yeon to find out about Soo-hyun's whereabouts, but gets nothing. However, this makes So-yeon reveal what happened to Ah-young. Chon-mi meets with an accident while going to school the next day and finds out that someone has sabotaged her bike, which makes her cause havoc at school. Ah-young feels bad for her and tells So-yeon that it is Chon-mi's birthday. Elsewhere, Soo-hyun is ready to get discharged, but is seen by Detective So-young, who then finds out about his illness. She promises to not reveal this to anyone and brings him to the bottom of the suspects list. Chon-mi arrives home to find everything in a mess and almost breaks down as the day has only brought bad things for her. She soon cleans up everything and finds out that her picture with Soo-hyun is the only thing missing. Soo-hyun then arrives home and Chon-mi is relieved to find him in good condition. He then takes her to a karaoke place where Ah-young, So-yeon, and Jae-bom have a surprise party planned for her. The group have a fun time and Oh-sung arrives while trying to find Jae-bom. He notices Chon-mi leave a room and finds the group having fun, and is about to leave when his phone rings and Soo-hyun is reminded of the sound he heard in the call recording played by Chon-mi. Soo-hyun is informing Chon-mi about Oh-sung's ringtone and how he must have been the one who called her. This makes Chon-mi want to rush up to Oh-sung and question him, but Soo-hyun stops her on time and tells her to investigate first. On the other hand, Jae-bom tricks Oh-sung and finds out that the relationship between him and Won-sok may have been something deeper and different than what he thought. Later, Soo-hyun wants to give Chon-mi something, and so the latter asks for his red shoelace. Unknown to her that the shoelace belonged to Soo-hyun's mother that he wore to make up for all the walks his mother's been missing out on. The next day, he gives her the red shoelace and asks her to never throw them away and to take them to all the beautiful places she goes to. Elsewhere, the police finally have a lead as a receipt left at the crime scene could help them find the culprit. Detective Hyun Jong-kook finds a clue at a study cafe, however, and what he finds is an unbelievable secret. Later, Chon-mi and Soo-hyun decide to check Oh-sung's phone log to find out if he made the call and take Ah-young and So-yeon's help in getting their hands on his phone. So-yeon creates chaos in class as she fights Oh-sung while Ah-young slips the phone and hands it to Soo-hyun. However, Soo-hyun finds out there is no data from 4 days back, and that Oh-song bought a new phone after he lost his previous one. The timing makes him suspicious. However, he is in even deeper trouble as Oh-song finds out that Soo-hyun has taken his phone. Later that day, Detective Jong-kook meets Oh-song's father, Gi Wang-do, and tells him that the receipt found at the crime scene belongs to Oh-song. Wang-do asks Jong-kook to hide this matter for some time. However, So-young finds out about this the very next day. Elsewhere, Kwon Se-jin tries to attack Soo-hyun to get revenge for his friend, only to be told that Soo-hyun is innocent. He apologizes to Chan-mi for thrashing her room, but denies cutting the brakes of her bike. On the other hand, Soo-hyun and Chan-mi try to get evidence against Oh-song, as the former makes his way to the Gi family house with the help of Ji-hyun. Chan-mi asks J-Bomb's help to meet Oh-song so that she can keep him away while Soo-hyun searches for clues. Elsewhere, Min So-na's father meets So-yeon and asks her to help him out once again in teaching Young-gyong a lesson. Ji-hyun brings Soo-hyun home and prepares for the study session, but the latter distracts her and rushes to go through Oh-song's room. However, all he finds are some Polaroids while Oh-song rushes home after he finds out that Soo-hyun is at his house. He rushes in and fights with Soo-hyun, but before he can hit him, So-young enters and arrests Oh-song. She then takes him for an investigation while Soo-hyun returns home and tells Chan-mi about what happened. But before he can give her a full report, he gets a call about his mother being taken to a hospital. Another desperate situation hits him, as he is told that his mother's on life support and will cost him a huge amount to continue the support. Left with no choice, he asks So-yeon to help him get another job beating up thugs, which she rejects on the spot. Ah-young is unable to see him this way and goes to Min So-na's father. Oh-song tells Young-gyong that Soo-hyun was the one who attacked him, and the latter is ready to take his revenge. Soo-hyun makes his way to complete his task, unaware that a greater danger may be awaiting him. Soo-hyun is near Young-gyong's camping car. However, this time we see Oh-song keeping an eye out for what is happening through the cameras he had set up earlier that day. As a figure in black is seen moving towards the car, we see Soo-hyun's mother's condition deteriorating in the hospital, while the scene shifts to a day before the current situation. Ah-young visits Soo-hyun at the hospital before school, and tells him about the request made by Min So-na's father, which he accepts. Chan-mi follows behind after Ah-young leaves, and tells Soo-hyun to take care of himself. Soo-hyun gives her the Polaroids he found in Oh-song's drawer, while Oh-song finds them to be missing. Later, Oh-song's father calls for him about his brawl with Soo-hyun before his arrest, and wonders if Soo-hyun is the culprit who intentionally planted the evidence against his son at the crime scene. He assures Oh-song that he will investigate this matter while the latter is ready with a plan. He tells Young-gyong to continue harassing So-na so that Soo-hyun will attack him once again, while Oh-song himself goes off to get his Polaroids from Soo-hyun. However, he later finds out that Chan-mi has the pictures when he sees her talking to J-bomb. Meanwhile, Chan-mi asks J-bomb to teach her how to drive, but shifts the topic to the picture she has received and asks him about it. Unfortunately, J-bomb remembers nothing, and later goes to ask Oh-song about the friends group that they had. Oh-song avoids him and tells him that he's busy uploading pictures on his Instagram, which is speedily gaining followers. Ji-hyun finds pictures of herself on his posts and tells him to take them down, but Oh-song has a plan, and these pictures are needed to gain followers. Elsewhere, Detective Jong-kook tells So-young about footage that he has acquired from the terrace of the crime scene, which shows that there were 2 people who had entered the car repair shop that night. While one entered from the front door, another person entered through the back right after Soo-hyun left. So-young is excited by this clue, while on the other hand, Young-gyong continues to harass So-na, who is unable to keep it together in front of her father. Her father assures her that they will get their revenge, and Oh-song overhears this. He tells Young-gyong to be prepared because Soo-hyun is soon going to attack him, and tells him to not fight back. Meanwhile, he puts up cameras around the camping car and is ready with his trap to catch Soo-hyun. The next day, Soo-hyun follows Young-gyong around, while elsewhere, J-bomb teaches Chan-mi to drive. When he asks her the reason for suddenly trying to learn how to drive, she tells him that it is to help her take the culprit who killed her brother in a secluded place and get her answers. With her secret in his hand, he tells her about having a twin brother who is short-lived. Soo-hyun is about to enter the camping van, while the news of his mother passing away is unable to make its way to him. Chon-mi gets the news from the gym director, and she gets Jae-bom, Ah-young, and So-yeon's help to find him. However, they soon find out that Oh-song is live-streaming Young-gyong, which is a trap that he has set for Soo-hyun. Unable to find Soo-hyun, So-yeon and Ah-young are frustrated and see a figure in black entering the camping van and attacking Young-gyong. Oh-song soon enters the car and removes the mask from the figure, only to find out that it is none other than Jae-bom. Elsewhere, Chon-mi is seen sitting beside Soo-hyun in Jae-bom's car as he sheds his tears while driving to the hospital. Jae-bom blocks Oh-song's plans while Soo-hyun rushes to the hospital. On the other hand, detectives make their way to the camping car and arrest everyone involved in the live streaming. Soo-hyun's mother's funeral begins while So-young interrogates Jae-bom, Oh-song, and Young-gyong. While Jae-bom and Young-gyong get away on a lighter note, Oh-song's interrogation diverts to Soo-hyun. Jae-bom soon makes his way to help Soo-hyun with the funeral, while Chon-mi, Ah-young, and So-yeon are helping serve the people. So-young arrives to give her respects, but leaves soon to avoid creating a tense atmosphere. Later, So-yeon and Ah-young try to pry about the person who came with So-young, but Chon-mi changes the topic. The group accompanies Soo-hyun as he places his mother's urn next to his brother's, and suggests paying respects to Park Won-sok, whose urn is there too. The group go there and find out that Chon-mi and Soo-hyun are hiding what they have found about the murder case. Chon-mi reveals that they suspect Oh-song to be the culprit, but because there's no evidence, she's unable to do anything. The next day, Oh-song brings Jae-bom for a private chat and tells him that he knows what happened when Won-sok fell from the building, but he won't reveal anything until he completely trusts him. He tells Jae-bom that the only one he can trust is Oh-song and leaves from there. Meanwhile, Chon-mi and Soo-hyun go for a little trip to the beach to lighten the atmosphere. Later during dinner, she reveals that she doubts her brother had a relationship with one of the guys in the picture. However, with Jae-bom having lost his memories and Se-jin having left the country, only Oh-song knows that truth, and they have to somehow get it out of him. Later, Jae-bom finds his room to be in a mess while he faces a door that had been taped by him in the past. The next day, Chon-mi once again asks for his help, which has him confront Oh-song to reveal the truth. Oh-song tells him that it was Park Won-sok who pushed him off the building on April 22nd the previous year, and he had witnessed this. This shocks Jae-bom, but he's unable to ask more when the two are interrupted by a teacher. Chon-mi is in deep shock after finding out about this. Meanwhile, Oh-song provokes Soo-hyun, which makes him lose consciousness and be rushed to the hospital. Chon-mi appears right then and has the ambulance rushed to the hospital where Soo-hyun has been going for his treatment. However, she ends up revealing his brain tumor in front of everyone. Now Jae-bom is shocked and continues thinking about Oh-song's words in an isolated place, while So-yeon and Ah-young worry about Soo-hyun, especially after finding out about his tumor. Elsewhere, Chon-mi is disappointed in her brother and decides to bid farewell to Seoul. Soo-hyun gets discharged from the hospital. He tries to contact Chon-mi, but finds her farewell message where she tells him to forget about the case and just live his life. He rushes home to find that Chon-mi has really left, and thinks about what she said about Oh-song and Jae-bom. Elsewhere, Jae-bom too gets a farewell message where she apologizes to him and says her goodbye. Later, Soo-hyun rushes to meet Oh-song, but sees him meeting Young-gyong while wearing white sneakers with a red shoelace, which reminds him about what Se-jin told him about the culprit. He follows the two to Young-gyong's camping car and attacks the two. On the other hand, Chon-mi is disheartened and in Busan when she gets a notification on her phone that brings pictures of her with her brother from 1 year back. She then notices the date, April 22nd, and remembers Oh-song revealing that Park Won-sok pushed Jae-bom from a building on this day a year back. Chon-mi is back in Seoul as she reveals Oh-song's lie to Soo-hyun and Jae-bom. While the beaten-up Oh-song hides Soo-hyun's involvement in his injuries, Soo-hyun and Chon-mi make their way back to the gym while holding hands. However, upon reaching the gym, Chon-mi separates from him to get her back when Young Gyong and his gang kidnap Soo-hyun while warning her to not call the police. Chon-mi calls J-Bomb for help and he assures her that he will find Soo-hyun. Meanwhile, Young Gyong beats Soo-hyun up, but not too bad, as Oh-song has told him that he will personally take care of Soo-hyun the next day. Later, J-Bomb dreams of himself falling off the building when he finally gets his memories back, and it is none other than Oh-song who had pushed him off the building. The next day, J-Bomb sends people to help find Soo-hyun, who put a tracker in Oh-song's bag to later follow him. Oh-song reaches the abandoned building where Soo-hyun is kept and gets a confession out of Soo-hyun of his assaulting Young Gyong. However, he isn't able to do the same for Park Won-sok, as Soo-hyun denies pushing him off the room. Right then, J-Bomb's men enter the building and save Soo-hyun, while waiting for J-Bomb to show up. However, when he does show up, Soo-hyun notices a different side of him, as J-Bomb rushes to Oh-song and accuses him of playing around with him. Later, Soo-hyun also sees J-Bomb signing some papers with his left hand, while writing the wrong name. Elsewhere, Chon-mi is at the police station and tells So-young about the call she had received from her brother's phone. She also wants to reveal information about Soo-hyun to save him when she finds out that the murderer is left-handed. Finally, she only reveals the information about the call she had received and about her suspicion of Oh-song. She soon meets Soo-hyun, who has been saved by J-Bomb, after which she meets up with So-young. She tells Chon-mi about her decision to leave school, because the detectives will be able to connect the cases to Soo-hyun through her. Right then, another detective shows up and tells Chon-mi that the call made to her from her brother's phone was made from the very park that they are standing in right now. Elsewhere, Oh-song reveals that he loves Ji-hyun to his father, because he believes that another case is soon going to pop up in front of them which will reveal this information. He doesn't want this information to come out as a surprise to his father, and so he is revealing this right now. Meanwhile, Soo-hyun tells Chon-mi about the oddity he observed in J-Bomb earlier that day. On the other hand, J-Bomb takes Ji-hyun with him to a deserted place, and the two now wait for Oh-song to show up. Oh-song soon shows up, and J-Bomb has Ji-hyun act as a witness while revealing that Oh-song had pushed him off the building. He further reveals the motive behind it being the video he found of Oh-song kissing Ji-hyun on his phone, which was seen by J-Bomb, which he later used to stop Oh-song from bullying Park Won-sok. Ji-hyun is shocked by this and slaps Oh-song before leaving. J-Bomb then asks Oh-song when was it that he knew there's another person inside him. Oh-song smirks at him and asks him if the anger of finding out that Park Won-sok had pushed him is what made him kill Park Won-sok. Meanwhile, Chon-mi and Soo-hyun find out that the person who kicked Park Won-sok out of the window may have used his left leg, and as a left-handed person is more likely to use their left leg for such actions, their target falls on J-Bomb. The next day, Soo-hyun meets J-Bomb to observe him, and when he tells him that Chon-mi has gone to visit the police, J-Bomb sneaks away Soo-hyun's phone. Later, Soo-hyun makes an excuse and meets J-Bomb again at his house, when Chon-mi tricks him with a message where she sends a picture of Park Won-sok's phone. This shocks J-Bomb, who soon leaves his house to go to the horse stables where he opens up the box that he has hidden, which contains Park Won-sok's phone. J-Bomb is relieved for a moment, until he turns to find Soo-hyun standing behind him. Soo-hyun and J-Bomb are standing in the stable when suddenly the former is hit in the head and faints. It is Oh-song who has come to save him when he sees his phone along with Chon-mi and Soo-hyun's picture strip. Oh-song soon notices that there's something wrong with J-Bomb's attitude and asks him when it was that his memory came back. J-Bomb then reveals all of Oh-song's plan as he realizes that the latter made use of his dual personality to indirectly kill Won-sok. The two then get into a fist fight while Soo-hyun wakes up for a moment before losing consciousness again. Chon-mi continues to call him until Soo-hyun comes back by himself. The next day, J-Bomb goes missing while Chon-mi and Soo-hyun meet So-young and tell her what happened. Later, the two discuss what has happened and find it hard to believe that J-Bomb is the murderer. So Young goes to the place where J-Bomb's car was left behind and tries to find clues about him. Later, Chan-mi meets Oh-song and successfully gets a confession of his presence at the stable the previous night. This gets Oh-song back in front of So Young as she interrogates him. On the other hand, Soo-hyun asks Ji-hyun to plant a tracker in Oh-song's bag, which she helps him out with. The next day, Ah-young calls So-yeon and asks her about her whereabouts, after which she informs her of J-Bomb's disappearance. However, So-yeon later sees J-Bomb in front of her and tells the two. Meanwhile, Kwon Se-jin returns from the US and reveals the truth of his relationship with Park Won-sok. He tells her that Oh-song had taken a picture of the two and started blackmailing Park Won-sok, because of which he started bullying the other students. Chan-mi is angered by this and leaves with her gun, while elsewhere, the police have identified J-Bomb as the culprit behind the murder. The next day, she confronts J-Bomb, who accepts his mistakes and tells her that it was only recently that he regained his memories of what he had done, when suddenly, he turns into another person, his twin brother, Sok Jae-jin. The two get into a brawl while J-Bomb makes her faint. Upon regaining consciousness, Chan-mi sees him pointing her gun at her and starts to talk to him. She tells him that she is aware that he is Jae-jin right now, and asks him to leave J-Bomb alone. Jae-jin tells her that he was only trying to save J-Bomb when the latter decided to follow Soo-hyun the day when the murder happened. It was because his face was seen that he had to kill the victim. Chan-mi is unable to see her friend like this and pleads to Jae-jin to leave J-Bomb alone because she trusts that her friend is not a bad person and doesn't want to see him hurt. Listening to her words, J-Bomb comes back, but struck by the guilt, he points the gun to his head. Chan-mi rushes to him right then and doesn't let him end his life, while the police arrest him after all this. Meanwhile, Soo-hyun sighs with relief after getting Chan-mi's update, but this is soon followed by a message from Ji-hyun who asks him to meet her upstairs. However, he soon finds out that it is Oh-song who sent the message, while Ji-hyun is his captive. Holding a knife to her throat, he tells Soo-hyun to kneel and comes forth to beat him up. Soo-hyun sees this as a chance and fights him. The two get into a bloody brawl and soon reach the edge of the rooftop. Oh-song slips and falls from the roof, which shocks the students standing below, who then look up to see an equally shocked Soo-hyun. They start thinking of him as the culprit when a message from Min So-na reveals that Soo-hyun is the hero who helped her take her revenge. Like wildfire, the news spread while other evil deeds of Oh-song's come out, which results in the students hiding the news of Soo-hyun being present on the roof the day Oh-song fell from the police. Ji-hyun does the same and reveals that Oh-song jumped from the roof himself. So Young realized what has happened and chooses to ignore it. The scene then shifts to their graduation and we see everyone taking their pictures, except Soo-hyun, who decided to leave school to spend time on himself. As the school says a heartfelt goodbye to him, Chan-mi, who has gotten into the Marines, accompanies him as the two leave together. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel if you liked the video.